Okay. I'll work.
Okay.
Oh, we got to shake Blaine up, and there we go.
But the thing is, I'm not super passionate on this subject. I mean, well, actually, no, I kind of am. But hey, oh heck, we're live. Hi there.
Yeah, we are live. This is TableBreakers, episode 8. We're going to talk about random encounters. The gang is all here, and we're going to fire off on things that happen kind of out of the blue. My name is Bruce, and you get to see my friends Blaine and Garrett. So, guys, take her away.
I mean, it's random encounters, so obviously we have no idea what's coming because
It's random.
I know, because random encounters are what happens when your GM is lazy, hasn't prepared anything, and has to go crap. I'm going to open a book and shit. Okay, I'm going to roll a D100, and because they're written by idiots, the charts are done completely uselessly, and they're generally trash, in my opinions. I think that's my opening statement for why I hate random encounters.
Well, don't hold back. Tell us how you really feel.
Well, let's see. You have monster manuals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, compendium, whatever. Another useless book. Some other weird monster that was written by some people who smoked too much, drank too much, and were sitting around navel gazing at their ceiling, going for a while, going, you know what? What if this monster had 5 limbs, 3 tentacles, and its special ability was it vomits sound? That sounds cool. Write it up. Okay, cool. And what does it live in? Just underground swamp cave. That's its environment. Cool. Put it in the book. Now, as your wonderful player, as your GM who's looking at this book going, how the fuck do I use this? Well, I gotta create an entire encounter of this. Or you can now go to the random encounter chart, which is not updated from book to book to book because the developer can't be guaranteed that you've bought all 45 monster books that have been released, and the Book of Evil, and the Book of Good, and the Book of the Outer Planes, and the Book of whatever splat shit is out there, and because your GM's too lazy to create an actual encounter. So you have this chart, but it's not in anything useful. It's like, this is a level 1 encounter chart. This is a level 2 encounter chart. Hey, this is a level 1 encounter chart that could be useful in a forest, but if you just use level 1 chart, my party's out in the woods camping, and at this point a storm giant shows up. Wait, storm giants aren't in forest plains regions, they're in mountains. Fuck you, chart said so. Hey, look, a black dragon shows up. Why? This is not the environment for a black dragon. Fuck you, chart said so. And now you get to have this other problem. And I get to have this other problem known as whelp. So, what do we have to deal with here? Random encounters mean random damage. You may have a storyline, a plot, a campaign, things that are going on, but because you decided to roll teleporting dire bear wolves, who are also part owls, because D&D monster creators are fucking cracked head retards, and now, well, that key individual you had been building the entire campaign due to player role playing has been eviscerated by your dire bear wow creatures, and now, well, I guess our storyline just fucking died. Well, we'll just have to go figure it out. And thank you, random generation table. You have made my day. Fun for the night, useless for the campaign. And because, random pig beast shows up and eats the entire party, well, I guess that was a fun thing. Everyone roll new. We're going to start over. And again, because you're too tired, because you work 45, 50, 60 hours a week, and you still got a GM because the rest of your players are actually stupid.
How do you really feel?
I hate monster manuals. I hate random encounter charts, but I use them because... Oh, and I really hate when GMs use them because I know that I know what they're doing. I know they're tired. I know they're exhausted. I know they're not putting any effort into this because, what is the most low effort thing you can do? Put a random encounter on the map. Now we all get to go fight a random encounter. You encounter 1d4 random mutant monster thingies, and they are all angry. They're going to kill you. You kill them, you get your random chart o loot. Woo! And you have no idea, but don't worry. The dire I am the assault weasel who's on fire, but who's also celestial. Was also carrying in his den nearby. He had also eaten a paladin because we've obviously found a holy avenger and a +4 suit of full plate in his den. What? What do you mean? Oh, and a pile of 1d4,000 copper pieces. Cool. So, does any of this matter to what we've been doing for the last 6 months? Nope. But I'm tired, so fuck it. I don't care. And neither should you, because the moment the GM goes, I'm running random encounters, the game went from being a game to a board game. It's just random. I just fucking log on to an MMO and just stab shit for random loot. Play Diablo. That's what you're playing at that point. You're just playing Diablo 3. You're just wandering through and going, well, I'm having a day. Run. Kill a boss, run. Kill, run. Kill some more shit. Okay, cool. Use my ultimate ability. Take a nap for 5 minutes. Oop, short rest. I go out and kill more shit now. Fuck it, whatever. And yeah, that's why I really don't ever like or use random encounters.
Now, have you ever made your own random encounter table?
Oh yeah,
That would actually play into your storylines.
Yes, but that's only because I was like, where if I'm actually building, well, I have no idea what particular guard's going to be in this section of a castle, but at that point, I'm tailoring through my custom-built NPCs, my custom-built creatures that are meant for the location they're in. But that's my work. That's more work. And yes, Shadzar, you're right. If I wasn't so stupid to realize that it kind of takes more work for a GM to set up, but unfortunately, most GMs don't put any effort into it. They just see, I go online, hit random encounter generation table thingy, boop, and one drop down, another drop down, player level, this thing, and they hit random, and suddenly they have yippee skippy, an entire encounter built for them. They're lazy. It's just a blap. Here you go. Here's the map. Here's an encounter. Have a fight in a field, in a dungeon, in a cave, in a forest, on a river. It doesn't matter. You're going to fight something, and it's just going to be simply, well, the GM now has to look at the book, because, you know, no GM is ever does any form of actual prep time to actually know what a random encounter monster. If you hit the random encounter boss, are you actually looking at Monster Manual 3? Probably not. Are you looking at the Monster Compendium? Probably not. Do you know all the tricks that weird dimensional slobbery slime monster covered in tentacles has? Probably not. You haven't looked at any of this stuff. You haven't memorized it, unless you're like somebody who I use the same book I've been using for the last 20 fucking years, and you've memorized every book because that book's sitting in your bathroom and it's your reading material that you've been memorizing for the last 20 years, so you can quote everything perfectly because you've got nothing better to read in your life. Cool. Fine. You're fine. But 99% of your GMs are not that guy. And so, well, let's go see. I'm just going to pull up a random, no, I won't. But, so it's like, well, you got a Shogun, some other weird things, and some other cool thing. Bloggity blog, you go out there and fight. Cool. Initiative. It's just walking through the paces of it's combat. You roll for initiative, the encounter starts, you just work through the mechanical death machine until you get to the end. And random encounters just bore me because I know a random encounter has no effort into it. There's no point for me to pay attention to it. All it is walk through the mechanics of killing, make sure the party doesn't die, make sure I do my part in the party. Congrats. Yay.
Blaine,
and the GM can
hold on, Blaine. You're not responsible for the characters living and everybody doing a circle of life dance with the cleric, okay?
But the thing here is that when you've moved into treating the game as a tactical war game. The goal is to get the entire party through the encounter. That means ensure the entire team survives to the end of the fight. Losing people in the party means a loss in combat potential, in your ability to kill more things later. So you want to keep everybody functional. So, like I said, when the GM has turned it into a tactical war game, all the game is a board game. Play it like a war game, where you just throw characterization, personality, and everything out the window, and you're just playing tactical combat pieces, and you use your stats. And the moment the GM is not putting any effort in by running a random table, you are officially at no effort. Play a fucking board game. Just play goddamn Warhammer. Play any combat game. Play Bolt Action. Play Warhammer. Play Warhammer Fantasy. Just play a war game. If you're,
Dude, I don't know what bad tangerine was in your shopping cart, but you bit into something so horribly bitter. I'm very sorry that the random encounter chart from the Temple of Elemental Evil or some ad infinitum other classic item list has hurt you so bad. I look at the random encounter charts, and that kind of gives me a flavor as to how the dungeon or the wilderness or the town is. That's exactly what I use it for. Even if I don't roll 3 dice 6 number of goblins that you encounter, as you are going through the dungeon, you're going to see evidence that the goblins have been here. Not even as a result of the random encounter chart. I'm just throwing in flavor text.
yeah.
You have goblin shit in the corner. How do I tell it's goblin shit? Well, it's about the size of your pinky finger. It's either goblin shit or a pack of 40 wiener hounds. You take your pick. And 40 wiener hounds is a better find in a dungeon, mind you, but it's fucking goblins. Okay, it's just fucking goblins. And I use random encounters for my games. I use them for flavor. I use them for small talk. I use them as a way to kind of process through the first combat of a game with my players, because not everybody's talked yet. Not everybody's gotten all their stuff they want to discuss first. I need to be a special person and discuss my character or my dreams or what I did this week at my job. And they do that. So I just got to kind of pump them out. It's like going through the commodes at a ball diamond on a Monday morning. The party's over. You're just there to suck out the shit, and I use the first random encounter to suck out the shit. Okay?
Yeah.
That's what I use it for. Now it'll be themed. It'll have a reason to be there. There will be maybe some snippet of or element of story that the players. There's always a storytelling player that wants to add to their journal. Got to give it to them because their Tumblr posts are trash. So I do that, and I give that to them. But the random encounter chart is not meant to hurt you as a dungeon master.
Oh, I understand that, but the thing is, like, I've encountered too many lazy GMs who they just fall back on the few occasions I get to actually play, which is rare as a fucking, 2 clips in a fucking month. It's just, it never happens.
Thank you, Ewok. Awesome.
Show us on Mega Man where it touched you. Where it touched you.
Everywhere. Because, like I said, my hatred just comes up. I was like, I've encountered too many GMs who they walk in unprepared and then do the one thing I detest, where they're like, roll 3D100. And at this point, I'm sitting here like finishing up whatever it is that I'm working on, and I'm like, oh no. And I watch the rest of everyone, someone's at the table. Oh, goody, 3D100. And then you roll it, and he's like, okay, that like somebody like give me a get like a number between 1 to 5, because he's got 5 monster compendiums or whatever the books they've got that are important for that game engine's name, and like number 3, he'll pull Monster Manual 3, then someone will a D100, and then, well, we're fighting what's on that page. And it's like, oh, good. Oh, and this is how, and I've encountered this on multiple GMs, where it's like, why? What's the point? I mean, have you put no effort into this? And then I realized, no, because they work a full-time job. They have kids. They're busy. I understand why they're doing it, but if they're putting no effort in, don't expect any effort in return. I mean,
with me, what I'll do, I'll use the random table for the first couple of fights, just for the simple fact of, number one, kind of like what Bruce said, because I can add some flavor stuff in there. The other thing that I'll do is I'll also use it so they can actually kind of learn how to, because it could be players who haven't played together before, to kind of learn how to function as a cohesive unit, and also their characters what can play off of each other.
But the thing is that I gotta do that about every other semester. Do a welcome to D&D. Here's how to play. I'll pick if they're in an environment, you do some work ahead of time. You pick an appropriate encounter that's neat, that's not overwhelming, and you put some work in. You don't just depend on, hey, I'm bored, I'm going to go pull up a random generator and I'm going to hit a button and there's my encounter done for me. I mean, if I do the work ahead of time, I roll and I quietly away from the rest of the party and I build my encounter, or the GM has done all this ahead of time. Well, it's not like it's random, but it's not being randomly done in front of you. Too often that random chart is being rolled literally in front of you. And you're like, oh God.
Well, I like to let the players roll it themselves. That way they can see what initial item will spell your doom, especially the ones that are cheating and reading along with the module with me. I want them to see the exact fucking way I'm going to kill them.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to say that just because we have had bad experiences at our tables with certain people or groups, that doesn't mean the entire genre of X organization might be bad. As much as I hate 5th edition D&D, 5th edition D&D as a system did not touch me in the middle of the night when I was not needing anybody to play with my no places. 5th edition D&D is just a static little system, and they wrote it, and you can play it, and you can use it to craft your games and to entertain your friends. And if you lend a personal touch to any game system, you're going to get a lot more reward than if you just used WotC or big corporate hardcover role-playing book number 723.
Right.
Okay. As much as like you might hate random encounters, I'm feeling that you really don't hate random encounters. You don't hate the game.
No.
But you hate
he hates the player. He hates the player, not the game.
Oh, no.
Yes!
I don't hate the game. I hate the GM. I hate the GMs who misuse it. So
don't hate the player, hate the game. Okay.
Well, the thing is, the game's not going to lose sleep over what we do.
Right.
But
which is,
I don't think I think your anger is misplaced. I think really you need to have a counseling session with poor GMs and be like, I need you to level up. I need you to understand why we adjourn at this table and why we look forward to playing again. Because right now, the way that you're running the game, I'm not appreciating it because you're taking the lazy man's way out. And you can have a great campaign even as a lazy dungeon master. Yeah. You can do it completely. Like, I'm going to tell you that there's been numerous times where I've had players get killed or their heroes get killed in the game, And now, because of this random encounter, now I've got to craft something, just some small stuff to do a Nemesis style system. If you've ever played Shadow of Mordor or
Yeah.
Shadow of War, you know how sometimes a random orc kills you, and next thing you know, that orc is super powered and he's buff, he's cool because he killed the player. And I would do that. Like there would be random orcs or hobgoblins or undead that killed players in Czar. And the next time the players bumped into that character, it was a special occurrence on a random encounter chart. But I actually would make actual events happen because players had a chance encounter and one of them would get killed by just at this point. Yeah, it's just a random piece of undead or bad guy, whatever. So you can make campaign events and you can make campaign days have a lot of fun by just being lazy and taking good notes. But don't be upset at the random encounter charts. The random encounter charts are there to just help out DMs. They're an aid. They're kind of like anything else between the hardcover. That's it. They're not there to intimidate or to take over and to make it to where we were going to play Dragonlance tonight, but I think instead Blaine's here, so we're going to run dungeon until he leaves.
Bye.
It's not, that's not how it goes. The game has got to have a personal touch to it. And when you have lazy GMing, that's a symptom. What you're discussing is a symptom of a selfish player who is in the role of a games master or dungeon master, and they are being illegitimate with their role because all they're doing is going through the motions and not truly trying to have an enjoyable time with their players. They're looking at it like an unpaid part-time job instead of a hobby they want to love.
You're probably not wrong there. I mean, that's probably a part of it. But like I said, when you encounter it enough times, there's that part of do you just run away from it, or do you grab the wheel and say, fuck it, I'm the one driving now, because you can't trust anybody else to do the job?
Go ahead.
I'm going to bring this up. Now, it depends on the GM. He may use a random encounter, but you brought up an entire thing in your rant where, you found a Holy Avenger and, +4 armor. The GM can actually take that random loot and guess what? Now you have a side quest. You have to return the Holy Avenger and that suit back to the church. I mean, in truthfully, and that's a real boom.
See, that's an actual cool way to do it. But I've also seen that's how you can actually springboard. But the thing is, if they springboard from there and make it interesting afterwards, that's cool. But if we are caught the next night as we're traveling back to town to go continue our adventure, and we're hit with another random encounter, it's now another low random moment. Well, it takes and then it's like, well, we beat that random encounter, and now we move to the next night. Next random encounter. If all you start running into is a chain of Star Trek original series adventures where all it is anomaly, screw job, mistake, random encounter, weird thing happening in an endless chain where there's no link and no commonality between them all, because, well, yesterday we fought a hobgoblin general. Today we're fighting a bunch of other things, and then we were attacked by flare-horned lizards, and then bats attacked us.
Wait. Those lizards, do they all go woo?
Yeah.
No, they have to go woo.
Oh yeah, woo. Ric Flair. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've
woo!
seen that. Right. And the thing is that when you just encounter this on it's just an endless string where it's like, okay, well, obviously the forest is bad. We'll get on a boat, and now you're attacked by dire crocodiles because why? It's the thing that's of your appropriate level, and it's aquatic, and the aquatic section is very, very tiny in the random encounter charts, and you just find out that eventually all you're doing is just an endless string of unrelated events. Sure, any of those things that could have happened could have, maybe by luck, you just enough goblin and hobgoblin events, all and orc events, all kind of mold themselves into a plot line. And I've seen some GMs salvage that and make that into an interesting way of doing it. But I've also seen more, for every one who does it right, I've seen like 2 or 3 who spin it off in the wrong direction, and it just turns into Diablo, or you're just fighting for the sake of fighting to get more loot, so you can get the town to sell your loot, to buy better gear, resurrect dead players, and go back out into random land. And after a while, that gets tiring, and it's like, some people, that's what they want, but I used to like that, but then Blizzard released Diablo. I can kill however many random monsters I want, at whatever level I want, and the game does it for me, and there's plenty of games like it. My desire for random encounters give random loot for random power-ups that I can now cater to my own and then go tell this to town to sell has been sated by playing a video game. If I'm going to spend my time with people, I want something a bit more than low random stuff, I guess is what it comes down to. And no, I do like the Wilderness Survival Guide. I actually like that. But most GMs don't run it that in that kind of level of interesting. So, I mean, when's the last GM who makes you make actual survival rolls, hunt for things? Your players just go, I have magical bullshit fingers, and now we have all the food we could ever want. I have magical bullshit fingers, and I cast a spell, and now we have someplace safe to sleep. There's no actual survival skills. What?
You don't like the hand waving?
The little hand wavy bullshit. It's like, so all the survival things just turn into. I turn into cool. I have like my character's a cool ranger. I have a survival skill, and I have some knowledge. I'm gonna go there and like figure out how to survive, and beat the elements, beat Mother Nature itself, or at least hold it off for a little while longer. And then the wizard goes, "This isn't a problem." Whoop, and problem solved. Well, we still need food. The cleric, boom. Food's taken care of. Well, we're all tired, cleric. Boom. No, we're not tired. Well, we need to worry about fire, wizard. I got this one. Fire taken care of. Shelter. We're actually the only thing that's going to actually harm us now is if a giant monster appears. Roar. Oh, okay. Now we get to have some fun tonight. And it's always during the night watch too. It's like, oh, hey, who's on first watch? Roll. Nope, nothing happens on first watch. Roll. Nothing happens on second watch. Roll. Well, I guess on third watch, the rogue screwed up and didn't notice the monster who's about to eat them. Rarp. And this is literally the standard fare of GMs I've encountered everywhere. Hey, we're going out into the wilderness. Okay, I guess today's going to be who's on which watch duty. Well, I'm a spellcaster. I need 8 hours of actual dedicated full sleep time, so I need to be on first or fourth watch, which means only the barbarians and fighters and rogues have to be on second and thirds. So that's how we're going to do our watch rotations. And that's literally how gaming works. And I'm just like, oh, fuck this. Okay, cool. Thank God for magic. And I fucking hate how magic is literally the answer to all problems. And which predicates we need to have random encounters to keep things interesting while we travel. which ultimately just devolves down to wizard cast teleport. We bypass all the bullshit because we're tired of it.
Ugh, God, Wayne, what the fuck did you eat? All you've done is complain. You're rolling on D100s on that random encounter chart again. Dude, like,
I have not had a
everybody can afford teleport. First off, that is an expensive spell in some canon campaigns, in some settings, in some games. You don't have the ability to teleport, so you get to make a 7.5 week trip cross continent on a donkey that shits and eats. And it has an honoriness score. And every day you got to scold your donkey and get him to march the direction you want to go and haul your bags, because otherwise you have a loose donkey and all your shit's with the donkey. Have fun going to get your donkey. Now the thing is that your random encounter complaints, you have played and you've given too many bad GMs your precious time.
Yeah,
you have, and
I have.
I'm not gonna say that you're a bad GM, because you're a great GM when you get the chance to play. Which once people find out who you are, oh, you're that Blaine. You're gonna play a game. You're gonna run it for us, and therefore you lose whatever fun you might have had as a player. I'm sorry, dude, but you run a very good system, and you're complaining about other GM's shortfalls. And earlier you asked, what do you do? Do you just like let them play and let them get better? Or do you take the reins? Well, I took the reins at like age 16, age 14 for Star Wars. I never have really looked back. And it's benefited my players that do play with me. They enjoy the games. There's a lot of people I know that they would rather not play my games because my games are hard, or they just feel like the game is very taxing and it's emotionally draining, and they don't get a lot of levels or experience points or magic items or magical what's-its to do the shit they want to do when Tumblr says, post your favorite part of your D&D campaign. And they're like that part where I almost died and the GM gave me almost enough experience points for me to level, and I needed 3 more sessions to level. And I feel sorry for those guys, but dude, you have to show players that are wanting to have the shield duties of running the game. You need to pull them aside and say, let me show you some tips and tricks. Let me show you how I do this, and maybe you'll get it. And before they have a chance to get used to the training wheels, you shove them off.
I do. Because I will admit, that is definitely what it comes down to. But I also kind of just like, look, take the hint. And they're like, no. And like, there's a lot of issues, and I understand that. And I know that's what I'm doing. But when there's another rest of the table, like, when I have enough people who are looking in the back corner, when the GM who's causing all the problems is elsewhere, and they're all going, take control back. We want to have the game again. And I'm like, I want to play too. Yeah, but this GM sucks. Well, will anyone else be GM? No. Okay. Well, I guess it's time to do the job again.
Blaine, you realize, like, we have 5 gaming stores here, and not all of them have a full Friday night roster of players, even though they easily could in a town of 1.3 million in the metro. So I'm going to tell you that you could live up to your potential, maybe a little bit more than what you think, but you've gotten really comfortable where you're at. You don't boot bad GMs out of the chair fast enough, no offense, because you're interested in leveling up your own character, and I can understand that. I want to play. I get it. But the table is suffering, and there won't be a table for much longer if you continue to not at least try to help the DM that's there. And if not, just fucking take the table away. But just text the rest of the party one night. I want to run my own game. I'll show you how to play. I'll show you how an enjoyable game is. And that might be considered dirty pool, but there's been a lot of GMs that I've hung out with that are nice people, but it'd be fucking retarded to let them have the fucking shield and the entertainment of 6 people be held captive by them. Within 3 nights of gaming, they've gotten rid of their table because everything is a needless slog. They do nothing but miserable end run fights, and they don't have a sense of purpose, nor do they have an identifiable way that they can say this campaign is great. And I remember whenever we were lower level, but no, they don't. They're these poor saps that are stuck captive to bad DMs. If you've got a bad DM, fix it. Either you give him a hand and show him how he can improve his game, or you just take the table. You go play somewhere else.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But I just need free time to be able to actually go play it and find another game to actually play. I have very limited time. I time to do things. So
nobody has unlimited time, dude.
Right, and I can't like two sessions a week. That's all I can ever manage, and those 2 sessions are going to be exclusively, probably because I can't find anybody else who's able to or willing to actually GM. That's literally what it came down to. Or when I show up, it's going to be like, I know what I'm shooting for, but because no one else really gives 2 shits about what anybody else really wants, they're not going to ask what I actually want. And nor do I want to show up to the table and go, look, here's what here's my goal, and then set out the entire agenda of what I want, because at that point I'm being an asshole and I'm ignoring what my fellow players want.
But you've done that before.
What? What?
Just come in and said, "This is what I want. This is what I want to do." I've been at a table with you when you've done that.
I have, but I've also grown up from those days and learned my mistakes of why that was an asshole thing to do, and I regret that I did those things now. But the thing is, I'm not going to show up to a table and go, look, here's my ultimate ambition, and then like set out like this massive document, like these are the steps of what I want to end up heading towards, because that's an asshole move. So I'm going to show up and go, look, I'm part of a group, and that means everyone else has their own say in what this is going to be. Sure, I may have ambitions where I want to follow in the line of like Marius or some other great, but where I want to build an empire, I want to kill and conquer an empire, and I want to plant a flag on a giant chunk of it, so that way when I die, they build a massive monolith to my existence. That would be cool. But when you're with Schlocko the Clown, some other weirdos, and some other weird other things, and the GM storytelling system is random encounters plus silly in jokes, you kind of table your grand ambitions and go, well, this is my one campaign I'm going to be able to play for the next 4 years. I guess I'm just going to sit down and play something boring. And at that point, just accept whatever you're going to get, because no GM is going to look. So if you walk in going, this is my grand goal I want, and then GM goes, crap. How do I GM for this? I'm like, look, I know it's like, or to use Vampire the Masquerade, hey, we're gonna play Vampire the Masquerade. Cool. My goals are to play an Elysian level game. I want to play Elysian. I want to play an Elders game, an Elder scale game, and have everyone go, no, we're playing Street Punks. Fine. I'm just gonna sit in the background and plot and plan, and figure out how to get the game to Elder level. But then again, that's hoping that my GMs are going to be putting the effort in. but it's when I see there's a lack of effort, that's when I just balk and go, cool, I'm just killing time at this point. Cool. If you need me, just call me when it's my turn.
Wow. Garrett?
I can't follow that.
You don't have to follow that, but I need an independent thought from you.
I mean, truthfully, like I myself, I tend to run when I DM. I do tend to run stuff off the cuff, and a lot of times, what I do is I actually use the random encounter table to help me do that. I don't necessarily have every step by step. I've got bullet points of where I want the game to go, and it's just this is point A where we're starting. I want them to get to point B. Let's see where it takes us. And doing those nighttime encounters, like you're talking about, with watches, you're gonna have random, animals attack. I'm sorry, you are.
Yeah.
And I completely understand where you're coming from on that, but and also to Blaine's point, it's also the responsibility of the GM to try to loosely tie that in, if he can. So you can do the as Blaine puts it, the lazy GM's way, but you can do it smart and actually kind of plug a couple dots together, kind of. Even if you take the strings broken in a few places, you can still kind of tie it to some other things to at least make it a coherent story. But like I said, I usually use it for at least the first couple, even sometimes 3 encounters, to really because every game is going to be different, and for the players to try to figure out their synergies. And I find that that's a really good way to do that. And usually by the 3rd one, I'll tie in some type of book. Whereas, there's going to be a story hook coming out of it, or something like that. So, that's me. I mean, I've got a buddy of mine who runs very similar to it, and he's been our DM on and off for, me and him pass on and off for, every 6 to 8 months, and he runs his roughly the same way. Now, granted, one of his big games is Exalted, and he's got his world that he's crafted, and he knows what to do, and he doesn't necessarily throw random encounters out there, but that is an entire world that he has crafted. He knows what's going to show up where. He knows the lore. He knows the system well enough. He can do it. Whereas if you're a newer GM, a lot of times you are going to rely on that. And what I suggest is put your plot hooks in there. Tie it together. Even if it's a side quest where they can go off and do something else that will bring them back around to your main quest. Like I said before, using Blaine's example of finding that armor and that Holy Avenger. Well, you return it back to the church and find out that he's not the first paladin that's gone missing. And there are plot hooks right there. It seems like they're being systematically hunted down, and they have a few leads, but they've all run cold. I mean, you can use something along those lines to really start, pushing the story forward. And, you can use the random loot tables, and, it's not necessarily something that the party is going to have or keep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and no, I agree. There are some DMs out there who are lazy, but there are also some DMs out there who don't know better. This is the way that they were taught how to DM, or how they found a DM.
This is the way.
Yeah, it is the way. And sometimes they need someone else who has DM'd before to pull them to the side and go, hey. And even you can even help them. Yes, you're in the game, but then remember, you've got player knowledge and your character knowledge. And make sure that you tell them strictly, anything that you help me with is your player knowledge. Your character won't know anything about this.
No, the GM won't let the player find out what the heroes did.
Right. I just need to find better GMs. That's literally what it comes down to. But that's not going to happen for a while. So, because I have not been exactly what I call overwhelmed by when I meet other people in the wild. So,
I'm sorry that you've had some bad experiences with other GMs, dude. I really am. I mean, it's understandable, but I need you. If you're going to be in a position, especially where you're mentoring kids, just don't even offer up the DM shield at the start of the game. I know you want to play. Take it, run with it, make it your bitch. Make the game your bitch.
Okay, Blaine.
Yes.
On the at where did the bad GM touch you?
Ewoks, logs from the side.
Oh, sorry, hungry Ewok.
Also, not an AT-AT, ATST.
My brain, my brain is fried. I was on vacation for 2 weeks. Then they threw me into the office, and I've been dealing with newbies and everything else. It's just been, it's been a struggle. Struggle's real. All right. So, but now you said that you've crafted some of your own tables.
Yes.
Now with those tables, how did you go about crafting them? Because I think that might actually help. If we can actually give some insights, if you're crafting your own, on how you can avoid some of the pitfalls that have upset you.
In essence, when I did craft my own tables, I literally went through and I had, thanks to being the forever GM, I do have several notebooks that are just full of NPCs, just leveled up characters. Because I firmly believe that the biggest monsters in my worlds tend to be other humanoids. So you're going to encounter about half the time other people who have weapons and skills and armors and other stuff like that. So I just go through my book and I encounter it's my books and I build up. Okay, they're going to be in an imperial military garrison. I'm going to here's what I think will be in this area. So therefore, if they trigger an alarm, I can go through and say, okay, there's going to be like a D6 stormtroopers who are going to show up, and they're going to be led by a commander. And if I get too many, I can roll. A captain will show up. There's a commander who's also out there, and I can actually roll out the entire encounter. And if things escalate too much out in certain areas, a war wagon with a ballista might show up, or some other like. I've got my encounter set up for the idea of what's in that region and what's going to be tailored to that section. So therefore, that's why when I opened this entire rant in the first place, I said there's just not a good chart that you can just look at and go, okay, this is a wooded area. This is a wooded biome. This is an urban area. I want to have a theme of my table being tailored to, well, you're engaging the underworld. Here's some thieves. Here's some thugs. Here's some gangsters. Have the encounter, that chart tailored more towards being, well, you're dealing with smugglers. You might, have pissed off that one guy who has the elite guard. You don't know this. I didn't know it, but hey, look. So you might, you're out there with your crack team of fellow adventurers. Your kill team goes out there and unfortunately stumbles into Well, there's an elite guard who's just like they could be talked down, they could be handled reasonably, or arrows and some blood gets spilled, and there's some bodies on the ground. Could be yours, could be them, probably them. Your heroes, but dice. I have a say in this, and but you don't have charts like that. You don't have a chart that's geared towards the King's Guard. You don't have a chart geared towards the underworld. You don't have a chart geared towards this is the merchant guild who's you pissed off. You don't have a chart that's more geared towards forests, plains, jungles. Screw aquatics, because there's nothing anything good in that chart. Mountain ranges. It's just simply, okay, this is the biome they live in, and this is a CR encounter that's of appropriate level, and good luck. And it puts the bias on, and the heavy lifting on, like, and the heavy lifting should always be on GM, but it does either they put no effort and you just get a fight, or they got to figure out how to weave that in there. But if I take the time and actually I've built my own encounters, well, I now know why there is a guild, a thieves guild enforcer in the area, why there is a thieves guild captain in the area, because, well, you're fucking with the thieves guild territory. Of course, that's what you're gonna be dealing with. Oh, hey, you screwed up with with one of the merchant guilds. Well, shit. Now you got to deal with their mercenaries. My tables will reflect the fact that you're in that environment, but you don't get tables like that. You just get random tables that just are just going to take the random trash. This is just an example. I don't use this book, but oh, hey, look, all I got to work with is this piece of crud book here, and now I got to figure out how to stitch that stuff into it. And it's just like, And yeah, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. I really feel
What
sorry
about you,
for you.
Bruce?
Say again?
What about you, Bruce? Do you set your own random encounters, or do you actually use ones from the books, or how do you normally do it?
It really depends what I'm running. Shadzart sent me a link. I want to take a look at this real quick because it's a time travel back to years ago. All right. Characteristics of random encounter tables. All monster encounter tables have certain concepts. Before you begin creating your own tables, you have to get an idea of why we have them. Their uniqueness gives an idea of what the level's like, or what's here, the level of civilization, the degree of danger, the magical weirdness of the area. Players never see the entire table. In such tables, help the DM define for himself the nature of the campaign role. The frequency. And it kind of goes into frequencies, like a common monster you would find here 70% of the time. An uncommon monster fills the next 20%. And they're fewer in number and are more wary of outsiders. Then the rare creatures actually show up 7% of the time, and they're either powerful, normally solitary, or very refreshing, retiring player characters, with abandon. You have the uncommon monsters that the rare encounter monsters come up 7% of the time. They're normally solitary, except powerful, or very, very, again, very unique in their power band. Very rare creatures, 3% of the population. They're exotic and almost always extremely powerful. They have wandered from the normal range or magical nature such that many can possibly exist at any time in one place. Not many can possibly exist at any time in one place, my bad. Unique monsters are that. You don't put them on random encounter charts, okay? Unique monsters, they get their own fucking set encounter. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I know this might be boring, but it's the original second edition stuff. Second edition Dungeons and Dragons. Back when the game was really well designed by people who loved the game and wanted to see that engine continue. they talk about it, and they talk about why you'd set up a table like that. They talk about why you'd want to have a reason for theming, or what makes it important to you. Why are you needing to have a random encounter chart? Why don't you just if you're not going to use a random encounter chart, how are you determining what monsters the players find? Is it because you have a hex grid set up, and if you go over here you fight goblins, if you go over here you fight orcs, if you go over here you fight fucking bugbears, if you go over here you fight gnolls, if you go over here you find a very friendly gypsy who steals all your money, and then he makes you an anti-Semite, and then if you go over here you find out that you're dealing with corporate shills, and they make you sign an agreement to be part of this guild that gives you no benefits, and you're fucked.
Yeah.
Do you determine it with that? Or how do you determine what's going to go on in your game whenever you hit a lull spot? Because you're going to have a point where you're playing a game and the random encounter chart is going to save your ass from staring at the book, or like, I need to get my mindset back together, so I'm going to take a break for 45 seconds, go grab coffee beans and put them in between my lip and my gums. And while I'm doing that, I need you to roll these dice, and I'll be right back. I'm not even going to tell you which chart I'm going to look at. And when you come back, your players have, well, some of them are on the deck smoking. Everybody get back in here. Hey, guys, come on, get back. We're going to look at the random encounter chart, and you start setting up because they rolled a fucking deep under, or a huge sized deep umbral dragon. And some people are like, what the fuck is that? Well, it's a dragon that belches out negative levels. What?
Yeah.
You're just kind of smiling to yourself, because now the party better learn cooperation, or well, otherwise they're gonna feel the wrath of having a random encounter kill this campaign. And I'm okay with that. I'm very okay with letting a random encounter chart kill off a campaign, because maybe the players didn't need to finish this module. Maybe the players needed to not be such selfish cunts.
Murder hobos.
What? Yeah.
Murder hobos.
The murder hobos got just desserts. And maybe you need to have that happen. Because otherwise, if not, then you're just doing planned encounters, and you're just setting up the game for a script run, and you really get tired because the players are saying this, and they need to just say these things here, and they just need to follow these things I've outlined for them, and then they can get experience points, and we can continue with the next encounter, next exciting planned encounter with no fun whatsoever, and all the fun has been sucked out homogeneously, and everybody's a boring, bland-ass, blue-haired land whale, and we all talk in terms of fucking pronouns, and we don't do a single fucking thing for the game, which we love so much.
True.
Don't do that.
No.
Pets and dogs.
Man, use a random encounter chart to help theme the world. Use it to help give life to a world that otherwise would be boring or flat. And if you can't do that, what you do is you let the players discuss things, and you're moving the party as they want to go, or in that intended direction of travel, but they will meet up with things that might change the entire campaign. Because before, we were going to go down in the Underdark and go to the Sunless Sea and try to kill aboleths, but now we've found that there's drow slavers over here, and holy fuck, we are against slavery. And
no slavery for you.
We've got to go kill slavers. And fuck, it's against the slavers campaign now, Underdark style, and we got to do that. So we're redoing the entire campaign, and the players are showing me on the map where they want to go, but when they do it, they're not showing me on the campaign map where I have everything prepared. Instead, the players are putting another paper next to the map and say, we want to go over here. Spot, where
and the thing
we haven't detailed it yet. And so you've got to do that. And a random encounter chart will show you how you can keep your game on track, how to keep the theming available. And maybe the players do explore over here this other place of business, or these other few hundred miles of wilderness, and maybe they get a level or two and can actually be a viable combat threat. Probably not. but
Probably
they
not.
might have the ability to level up and delay their inevitable demise, because it sounds like there's too many players out there that are being led around by panty-waist, bird-brain DMs that have no clue what the game is about, but they get upset when you argue with them or say, no, I think we need to discuss this. And they'll never show up for gatekeepers. They'll never show up for fucking table breakers, but they'll be the first ones to upload a hate click video. I can't stand these guys. Bruce is mean.
Ugh.
So they'll do that. But the random encounter chart helps your game. Even if it's
Now-
not an encounter. Maybe the players see a scrap of paper flitting through the hallway. Or maybe the characters see that there's an item on sale. Or maybe you just have a fucking subscription to Creighton Broadhurst at Raging Swan Press. Here's a plug for you, Creighton. Creighton puts together things like items you would find in a dead cleric's pockets. There's 20 fucking discoveries you can make when you search the corpse. What is it that he's got in his jacket? And you have 20 different things. And because Creighton Broadhurst is one of the best fucking D&D or fantasy tabletoppers out there that runs and writes very well, and thank God he hasn't decided to write fiction, otherwise I'd be fucked. He writes a campaign snippets, just little things like $3 packet that you get, and it's maybe 1,000 words. But he has so much packed into those 1,000 words that you start to rethink your campaign, because maybe you've been filling it in for the past 20 years and you need to give your players more. Because within 3 sentences, Creighton Broadhurst has shown you that there's an item inside a cleric's fucking overcoat that might give another 5 to 7 nights of gaming as the players try to find who this picture is, or what is the significance of this invoice, what is going on with this key. And you have so much. So random encounter tables are not to be angry at. Whenever you have a bad DM that just goes on autopilot mode and says, I'm going to run Knives in the Dark because the system runs itself, you stand right the fuck up and leave.
Yeah.
There's other tables out there. There's other GMs that want to get their experience of learning how to have a master player like you at their table and have you help shape their way of interpreting the game to others.
And
so find somebody that's willing to work with you and have a good compromise, but don't make concessions. Okay, there's a difference between compromises and concessions. A compromise is, well, I've ran the game for about 25 years, and I was told by my other friends that they wanted me to run the game because they love it when I run, because they have a 4-year campaign plan on how their characters will evolve when Blaine runs. But little Timmy's never ran before, and he's got a lot of neat ideas, and he's youthful, and he's exuberant, and he's got a zest for the game that I've lost after 3 decades of running it. So I want Timmy to run, and if Timmy has questions, I'll help him out. But I'm not going to run the game for him. I'm going to show him what I do, what I put together, and the small 5-6 pages that I go through for my campaign notes. And what is really important is to make sure you're looking at your players and you have an eye contact and nobody's staring at their phone, but instead everybody's talking with each other and trying to work things out to where we can all possibly have the least amount of financial ruin come to our player characters before we endeavor on this 7-week trip across the continent. And you could do that.
Yeah.
I don't mean to. I'm not trying to harp on you, and I know. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I got delivered a package.
What'd you get? Hot Pocket?
No.
Oh.
There's a seal. So
okay.
I'm gonna pop the seal.
Okay. Okay. Show it. Whatever it is.
This is my wife. My wife just came home and she handed me that, and friends of ours got reindeer stuff, and yeah.
Rocks.
I got a rock.
Ooh, dice.
Cool.
Ooh, pretty dice.
What'd you get?
Oh.
think Garrett's going to come.
I do believe so.
Shiny Click rocks. She actually made these. The
Nice.
my friend's girlfriend has been getting into dice making, so yeah. She
girlfriend.
Yeah.
Nice.
Is that?
He's a pretty die.
There we go.
That's pretty.
And I think we might have killed our audience, but I really think that random encounter.
You know what? They'll watch it.
They'll
watch it on the replay. So.
Yeah.
And Shazar, that's part of the fun though. It's the contest between the players who don't want to be broke and the GM who wants you to be broke. So it's the whole I want money, you can't have money, and that's a fun interplay. So you kind of want to keep trying that. So.
Hey, TW.
And handmade and weighted dice. When they're done right, they're fun. And I guess to get back on the topic a little bit is that I'll admit I have used them for similar things for the random thing found in pocket, and then but I guess I'm a little on the wrong side of things here on. And yes, I'm sorry, I'm insanity. I do have insanity, and I apologize for it. It scares everybody else off. So maybe I'm not the best person to be on this if I just keep scaring everybody off.
I would disagree.
Actually, I like this because as opposed to some of our other shows that we've done, you've got we've got a few opposing views here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think we have that too often.
Like
no.
Whenever I put together a game, I always have a couple random encounter charts available just to make sure that if there's a lull in the game or whatever, I have something to grow in my DM's toolbox and I can pull it out. A DM's toolbox is very important to me, and I just like the idea of being able to. Well, the party's in round 7 of a combat where the players and the monsters are slapping each other, but no damage is being done. To start the combat to get really honest and possibly lethal, I'm going to go roll this random encounter because these guys are making a lot of noise in the dungeon. And I want them to realize, like, you don't exist in a vacuum. Things do not things do not exist in a stasis. So you're going to have a dungeon that will become more alive as you continue to disturb it. You continue to put your finger in it and mush it around and try to have your way with it. It's just like the beer and this honey, which is at the very bottom of it here. I'm going to agitate the honey and get the good stuff going, just like whenever we've got like round 6 of a combat.
Yeah.
And a new contestant has entered the fray. And
the gelatinous cube falls from a hole in the ceiling.
It's just a bunch of gale endurers. Rocks fall, everybody dies.
Yeah.
You don't want to overwhelm the players. Okay. You want them to fear for their characters' lives, but you don't want to truly give them hatred for the sound of the dice rattling across the table. You want them to enjoy the game and see what develops next. But
I think that's partially my problem is that I don't have that because I've been doing this for stupidly too long. I have that mentality of when I was younger and I was starting out at this, yeah, I needed that crutch. I needed those random counters, and some of those things helped shape the world that I'm still running decades down the road. So, but the thing is, I'm at the point now where I have a good idea what lives in what lives on each continent. I have an idea what lives in what's in each biome. I have an idea what's out there, and so if there's ever that point where there's a lull, I have an idea what could probably be out there to cause problems. So for me, I don't need the crutch anymore of the random table, which is the reason why I don't use them very often, because at that point I can now because I have a grasp as a GM of what my world is, what the campaign is, what the story is. I can throw a regional location appropriate encounter together off the top of my head or with some notes that will lead to a not great encounter but an interesting encounter, or at least enough to be able to get the story, to poke the players, to prod them to go. Sure, I might use a random loot table just because, hey, somebody might have, a really cool locket, and the party might go, it's worth 5 gold pieces, and sell it, or someone latches onto it and goes, hey, it's cool, and now we're going to run with that, and that suddenly gives me, me a little, so it does come down to the appropriate use of a table at the right time in the right measures. It's that determination that comes down to it, and to be all brutally honest, every game is GM fiat, and the less, because you're the ref. So your fiat, when you roll on that table behind the thing, unless you're one of those people, unless you are so mechanically detached, you're gonna roll, you roll and go, well, it says there's 12 void worms about ready to attack us. Yeah, I don't think the party can handle 12 void worms.
Are they really ready to attack you?
Yeah, and then suddenly that's GM fiat. You're like, no, I'm going to re-roll. Well, that's just as much tailoring an encounter as putting the effort ahead of time and going, well, I know roughly what's going on here. Because unless you just go, well, because the chart says 5 gelatinous cubes appear, we're going to run 5 gelatinous cubes, or you're out in the woods, 12 wolves attack you. Why? Chart said 12 wolves are attacking you. You go. You have to deal with it. And, some people like that randomness. I don't. And I'll admit it. So that infects my play style. I like a bit more. Sure, the players get to make the hard decision of where they're going, and then I can adapt from there. So they push, there's a response. They respond to what I do, and then it builds out from there, and it gains momentum. But when it's hard to build momentum when suddenly the course changes immensely in a weird direction thanks to a table. So my hatred really just stems down to unrestricted use. Like, in small amounts and the right poke can do wonders. But the problem is that too many just take that little poke, and then that becomes their only crutch. That's the stick they depend on, and that's where it burns me to the point where I have my distinct automated response where it's just like a knee-jerk reaction where it's just like, nope. So, because there's just a point where it's just like, I'm bored with randomness, and I want to, I don't want to be the one, if I'm playing, I don't want to be in complete control of what's happening, but I want my actions to feel like they're actually meaningful, even if it's just an illusion of being meaningful. But when I know that my actions don't mean anything because a random chart's just going to say something different, it takes away that illusion of actually being more than a board game piece. And at that point, and once that illusion is broken, I just go boot up Diablo and play a game.
See, I don't think the game is ran by random encounter charts. I think the game is part player agency, and here goes the emails now. Part player agency and part set series of events dictated by the GM or DM or storyteller or referee. I think the game completely depends upon both players and the dungeon master, to where you guys have to agree you're going to have a narrative. And there's going to be a time where sometimes the story will take an unpleasant turn and players might die.
Yeah.
But you're going to be making the game as fun for them as you can within the boundaries of the rule set of the game, because you don't want to just be like, oh, fuck these rules and just live anarchistically, because you're going to be up for very much a lot of disappointment. The rules are there to help you. The tools that they put in the books, the random encounters, are there to assist you, but they're not meant to be a crutch. They're meant to be something that when you're needing to help pick up the game, or maybe the players need to go take a 5-minute break, smoke some cigarettes, come back, and when they come back, you're setting up the miniature table with the players in the center, and you're putting together the dungeon terrain or inking up the battle mat, however you look at it. But you do that, and you say you were investigating something, and all of a sudden movement starts to happen. Roll for initiative.
Mm-hmm.
And just do that. Just go with that. But I think that to script the entire game is almost worse than run the game by random encounter. I think that's worse, because you're forcing the players to be guided along on an adventure path that very, very rarely will offer wiggle room. And really, you need to just be able to trust your players, and you need to be able to trust the tools that are with the game you play. Or you need to find a different guy that sells you your favorite paraphernalia for the game. I've got Creighton Broadhurst. He does a wonderful job. Raging Swan Press is my go-to. I always have a Raging Swan Press book at my table before I run. One of them is there because they have all these neat ideas crammed between the covers of their softcover books. And if you don't know who they are, you're really missing out. In fact, I've posted in the chat before, Raging Swan Press made a 96-page or something like that free download called The Lonely Coast. And The Lonely Coast is a very enjoyable, almost a trip back to 1990s Thunder Rift for Mystara or basic D&D. And it has 10 little towns in it with enough information for the DM to take the skeleton and flesh it out into an actual game. You have enough information out there to make it an intriguing location, a place where the trade winds blow and you get to see the white caps on the shore. But the woods are a deadly place to be, and you might get killed there. And he has mastered the art of doing game fiction to where you can read the loud text of the random encounter chart, and the players will talk about that for 20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah. I guess I just haven't found. I guess when it comes to just running anything that involves D20 plus level plus race plus class, aka anything with the word Dungeons and Dragons or a Dungeon derivative, I just haven't had a good encounter with a GM who actually knows anything more than just what counts as passable.
Yeah.
And because every GM I know who's a good GM who could be able to run their way out of a wet paper bag and make a game that's incredible, they all move to other game engines. They all play other games. It's like when it comes, like, my problem is that I'm stuck running a game engine that's universally known, because I'm stuck in a perpetual cycle of having to deal with new people every 2 to 3 years. You know, a full a full group reset every 2 to 3 years, and then I have to deal with new people coming in every 2 to 3 years. I can't just go out and say, hey, everybody, we're going to play Twilight 2000, or we're going to play Legend of the Five Rings, we're going to play Seven Seas, or we're going to play Shadowrun. Most of them are going to go, I have never heard of that.
And that's fine. And you need to sit their ass down and be like, listen, when I first started playing D&D, we had no idea what D&D was.
Right.
So this is it, and this, and no offense, Blaine.
Yeah.
But I always hear you talk highly about other game systems, and you never run them. You never run them. You never run them. You have a regular group that shows up because they took a class syllabus, and they want to know about what you're doing. No offense.
But the thing here is that trying to get them to get them to understand the game engine and then convert, I have to deal with the fact that I have the code guy who runs the thing, who he pretty much goes, we're gonna, like, whenever we've tried to run Seven Seas, it's good for a little bit, but then people just can't grasp it because it's a whole different concept, because they come in knowing a little bit on what Dungeons and Dragons does. They understand from gaming, from video games, from novels, from online. You can just go anywhere and find infinite resources that will help you create whatever you dream up with Dungeons and Dragons. Okay. So it's the entrance, it's the gateway drug, and so many of them, when the kids go off and go play other things, switch to other game engines, but I'm always stuck, perpetually trapped.
No, you're not.
With this engine, unless I just want to quit doing whatever quit doing the volunteer work.
You are not stuck. Maybe I'm just not seeing it right, but I honestly feel like you could take their money for the class syllabus and be like, all right, this year we're going to run Shadowrun. And if you need to understand what this is, it is like Johnny Mnemonic meets J.R.R. Tolkien. And somebody's going to get it, and most of them won't. But that's okay. You don't let them roll up a character. You give them pre-gens. You say, you, here's your characters. And you start to run. And then whenever it's time for them to roll dice, you explain to them how the dice rolls work. And you start to do that. But never think that you are subject to having to run a game because nobody wants to play anything else. You take one of your newbies into a game store, like, just for fun, and just let them off the leash. Let them wander around all the aisles. Let them go check out all this stuff. They're going to come back with boxes of Warhammer shit, Blood Bowl. They're going to have Mantic Games, Kings of War stuff. They're going to have books stacked up on top of books. They have no rhyme or reason. They're like, this stuff looks really cool, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
What do you know about these games?
And it's a lot of fun, and they're all fun.
You're explaining to them. Or Shatter's like, get on Tabletop Simulator and search for a game on there. But you are never subject and handcuffed to a game engine that you don't really appreciate. You're never that guy. Not you, Blaine.
I know.
You're too smart, and you really should be trying to expand the people that you touch. You should expand their gaming diets. And you do a good job of conveying a system or a system of ideas or some such. You do a very good job of giving life to that in someone's head. So
I know.
True story.
You aren't shackled to 5th edition. You aren't stuck to 2nd ed or 1st ed. You're not going to be stuck with 3rd ed or Pathfinder. Whatever they're going to play, they're going to play. Yeah, that's the secret.
Yeah,
D&D is what everybody calls it. But really, we're not playing D&D tonight. We're going to play something else. We're going to play Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. We're going to play Coriolis. We're going to play fucking Modifius game. We're going to do this.
No Modifius. No Modifius.
But you get the idea. You dictate what they play.
Right.
You dictate that. If they're not normal gamers, all you've got to do is keep them entertained for 4 or 6 hours or whatever your time slot is.
About 4 hours.
It's over after that. It's over.
The thing is that, like I said, but when I go out hunting for games, my answer that I always get is, "Hey, we're playing Dungeons and Dragons," and here's me. Oh, fucking okay. And I've had many a GM tell me to shut the fuck up and just play the game we're playing, and I'm just like, all right. And then they wonder why I just kind of just go, okay, cool, because a lot of GMs do go, like a lot of players and GMs are. They got their idea and they're going to run with it. And I'll admit, I got my idea and I run with it. So I'm not innocent of this by any way, shape, or form. But being told to, or worse, coming into an established group and then going, okay, second fiddle, and then wait to get caught to catch up, and you're never going to catch up because they're never going to. It's just a mess, and I know I'm carrying a lot of baggage. I'm carrying about 747 worth of baggage, and I know that. So yeah, but I deal with it, and I know it's just weird. I know I've got my preconceptions, and I know their biases, and I try to get past them, but I know.
At least you understand that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to actually seriously challenge these beliefs, because I think the player has hurt you, not the game. The game doesn't mind. The game doesn't care. You're going to use the game, whatever. But
Right.
the game will go out of its way to hurt you. It's these other GMs that have ruined your experiences.
And the really bad thing is like to make a comment I made a couple weeks back before is like no game developer gives a shit about what you do, and so the game really isn't your enemy. It's just the players. And I guess when you go into a game store and you look at what the game what games are available on the looking for players chart or looking for a GM chart, and then you're like, okay, that's gonna be interesting, and then you go and sit there and talk to them, and you're like, yeah, no. So
and Chad's are like, don't you dare invite me over for D&D, and then pull some other game out. You'll pull back a stump where there used to be a hand.
I understand. And Shadzar, too many people are like you who I encounter, where it's like, hey, does anybody want to play with the? Oh, no, we're playing this, and I'm like, okay, I go. Like it's like I had one player. He was a really good storyteller, like really good World of Darkness player, and he came back. He came in to visit from Seattle one day, and he's like, "So what are you running?" Well, I'm getting ready to run my game tomorrow, and he's like, "Is it Dungeons and Dragons?" Yep. He goes, "Give me a second," and then he could literally just vomit a character out. He goes, "It's Dungeons and Dragons. There's literally no thought to this." And like, what level are they? What's their gear level? What's the wealth level? This, blah, here you go. I got a character done, and I'm like, God, is this? Are we? And I look, and the two of us were just sitting there, drinking beer, going, "Are we literally both at this level of detachment from actually enjoying this, that we can literally just vomit out mindlessly a functional character in less than 5 minutes?" Yeah. God, we suck. Get another beer out, and then that's literally what it comes down to. Which kind of actually, like, it's both awesome that most of us have system mastery at that point to be able to do that, and then it's like, if we spending any time theory crowding, it's like we want to do something that's a little off the norm but still be functional. And I guess that's just it. It's like, but at that point, we're not thinking like we're playing. We're just thinking about it in pure mechanical terms, rather than anything that could be actually enjoyable. I think that's the right term, enjoyable. And like I said, I know that's baggage from me having enough bad GMs to the point where I can tell a bad one coming pretty fast, and I gotta make it through the rest of the session before I walk out, because I don't want to leave a bad impression of, well, this player just leaves in the middle of sessions, which, I could do, and that's not friendly. That's not going to produce a conducive environment. Though, by God, I'm going to underscore that I undermine them later, but try to do it in a peaceful, nice way that doesn't ruin their entire group, or just find something better to do with my time elsewhere.
I don't want you to hate the game.
And I've honestly I like gaming. I just walking into a gaming store, I can tell by who's talking if I want to be in their group or not within minutes of first contact. And usually the people who I want to game with have full tables and aren't looking for new players. So, and the people who have open spots tend to have reasons why they have open spots. And that's usually like a red flag on why do you need players? Well, I had 3 players walk out on me, but I still want a GM. Oh, fuck. All right.
Let's make it 4.
What was that?
Let's make it 4.
Yeah.
This has been the most unusual stream we've ever done.
Yeah.
It started out with a rant, and now we're just here.
I still think that however you go about it, this is one of the sessions where I came in here unprepared because I didn't know what I was getting into with random encounters. Holy shit, Blaine's got an earful for me.
I'm sorry.
It's fine, but I don't think the problem you're having with this is at all the game. I think it's some of the players you've got, and you just said there are some players you can tell when you walk into a game store, you want them at your table. No, yes, maybe this one over here, and you have that. You're I wouldn't mind these 3 people, and you go through that in your head, and you swap numbers, you get the contact information, and whenever they do have available free time, you guys can play together. Maybe a year or 2 from now. Hobbies like this is why we get together for socialization, and it's fun, but sometimes you have to wait to get people to your table. Garrett and I met up at a good time to where we actually had a junction where we could immediately start to get to know each other, start gaming, start running for our friends. And you came along in 2009. You came over to the house, and I wanted to have you as part of my regular group, Blaine. Maybe you would see the way I run, and maybe you'd realize that I'm not really that talented of a DM, or maybe I'm a great DM, but you would at least enjoy yourself.
Honestly, for me, it just comes down. I just want more reasons to be focused and engaged by a game, rather than feeling detached to the point where I want to do anything else besides focus on the game. Because bad GMs who use crutches badly because of the social contract, I don't want to just walk out on my friends or walk out now some rando I see at a convention who runs the world's worst game in the universe. Oh yeah, fuck it, walk it. Just gonna walk. The thing is, that's a convention. I'm never gonna see them again. They're just some weird guy I met in a badly lit room at because I was in between an actual real panel that I wanted to actually go to. So fuck it. You know what? I got 4 hours. I'm gonna sit on this game. Wow, this was a mistake. And you know what? No skin off my teeth. It was 4 hours at a convention, whatever. But the thing is that if I was to go, say, if the gods ever let me have free time and could join Garrett's game, God help me, that'd be great. But I wouldn't want to walk out because why? Because I like Garrett and most of the people in that group. They're actually nice people. I really do enjoy their company. The problem is time. But if I had a bad moment, I would feel comfortable to talk to them. But if I would say I went to just for fun and some weird people there, and I'm like, shit. Do I go in there and say, look, I have a pretty decent grasp of several major concepts and would like to explore these things, and then I get, no, we're here to do this random thing. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm here. Do you need me to do anything? No, you're fine. Okay, cool. Bye.
I think there's some more things that we could find out about Blaine that would explain a lot more of why he rants so well.
PTSD, severe levels of PTSD. Okay.
Okay.
I'm just taking notes for a dating profile in about 5-10 years. Because when he gets to that point, we're gonna be sitting here typing him up a dating profile. So chicks will swipe. It's going to be all nerds and everything. Only gamers, and that's going to be the name of it. Only gamers, and then they'll have to swipe and double tap and do all kinds of weird up down left right. They got to do codes to yes, and yes, this is what it is. And look how red his face is. His face is redder than my hair. Oh my god.
Your DM sucks. Change my mind. That's all I would do. I would totally just superimpose his face or Photoshop it on top of Crowder and Photoshop that whiteboard he's got underneath it. Your DM sucks. Change my mind. And just go with that. Just
Works.
Let's see what we met. And I'm pretty certain that his conversations just from that photo would get him like some weird libertarian gun rights advocate chick, some lady who's like, I was married, but my husband was a piece of shit and he cheated on me. But I've got the NRA card at home and we're going to a shoot next week, and I really want to get back into some Warhammer Quest and hell, D&D if I could get into it. And you're just you were on board because she has tits until she said Warhammer Quest. You're like, God damn it! You're like,
pretty much.
I wanted to play a game, not be a board gamer. Fuck. So you were, as Blaine was saying, yeah,
that would be the moment.
Cat people allowed.
There is four miniatures there that are going to have to be re-glued and repainted now.
Yeah, I know. That's
sorry.
The breaks. Subtitled: No cat people allowed. Gamer girls pushing their OnlyFans. Dog website dating only gamers. Expect only to find dogs you're looking for. Oh god.
I can't say that because I play BattleTech, which is like the supreme crunchy, horrible, slow war game. So if I want wargaming, I got slow wargaming here.
All right. Somebody page in Max here. They're going to go fawn over. Going to have their bromance over BattleTech. I love the Intersphere. Oh, I'm a clan person.
Oh fuck no! The best part about that game is that nobody's perfect, nobody's right. Everyone commits war crimes because somewhere it's war crime o'clock. We're just gonna nuke somebody. Why? Because we hate everybody, and there's no good guys. Everyone's evil.
Everybody's evil.
And as long as your check don't bounce, it don't fucking matter.
Yeah, and Travis is right. The BattleTech PC game is pretty good. It reminded me of Quake. The new BattleTech game was reminding me of Quake really fiercely. It was good.
Oh gosh, yes. Rogue Tech is the best way to play.
I'm kind of tapped as far as like talking about random encounters. I mean, we can talk further on it, but no. I really I didn't mean to be a boring host or stream. For those few of you that are here right now, thank you for watching us all this way. Garrett,
hey, this is our shortest. I think this is our shortest episode.
Well, that's fine. We don't have to have a full bus 2 hours the whole time. Oh, you need a 2-hour stream? I'm unsubscribed.
Look, Garrett. When you said before stream, just shake me up and point me at a direction. That's a problem. You pulled the pin on a grenade and then threw it. It bounced back. I'm sorry.
Oh, it hit exactly where I wanted it to.
Oh, good.
I disagree with you so vehemently. And Blaine, you've got an open fucking slot waiting on you. This Saturday we're running a game again.
Unfortunately, I'm working eternally.
I know.
So that's my problem. So
what time are you off?
3 in the afternoon, but then but then I head off to go actually GM and like GM and do a Christmas party. So at the same time. So
How many entries are on your random encounter chart for Saturday?
Technically they have only 4, but they're going down into a big giant mine that's full of chemical gas and weird mutations. So there's some variation in there.
I really
random mutation charts? Yes.
Well, depending on like some spit acid, some spit fire. So when the encounter starts, I just choose which element they're going to be attacking with. So that's about all it comes down to, or the bugs that will spawn bigger bug. If they don't kill it fast enough, it becomes bigger bugs, and it becomes more fun down there.
What are you playing?
Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
Borderlands.
No, I thought he was talking. What is it? Is it Shadow? Yeah, Shadowrun, and you were taking them into Bug City or something.
It might as well be, but they're like going down into like ruins of an old Matchtech war, and they're going to go deal with. They have no reason to go down there, but they want to hide out from the fact that they're starting a civil war, and they don't want to be killed by stormtroopers. So they're going, we need to go find somewhere to hide. So they went into this old mine, and the mine's got problems because it's leftovers from a war from a major war that happened about 40 years back, and the mine's still infested with chemicals and horrifying mutagens and arcane leftovers. So they're just going to go down there and not get killed. They hope. Meanwhile,
they go in as humans, come out as turtles.
Pretty much. And if they all die down there, well, they chose to go down into that pit. Even though like the Mad Max little barbarian core around it of just savage barbarians are like going, yeah, we don't even go down. Go down there, and we need gas masks to be able to not die down there. And they're going, we're going down there. Why? Why would you want to go down there? I've warned you to not go down there. There's a sign that says bad shit down here. In fact, there's barbarians who are on scaffolding with heavy crossbows shooting down into the darkness to keep whatever's down there. And you want to go down there? Yes. Okay. Cool. So there's some
Metamorphosis Alpha one of these days.
That sounds. I don't know what it is, but it sounds fun.
Think of it was the inspiration for Fallout.
Okay, you sold me already. Fallout 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Are we talking about good Fallout? Okay, the good Fallouts. Okay, good Fallout.
Yeah, I haven't played 3, and I haven't played New Vegas, and I've not played 4, and my life is still pretty good.
New Vegas captures the feel of 1 and 2, while 3 and 4 are just kind of meh. They're good mod platforms.
I'm all right. I don't need it.
You're good.
I've got to say that if I'm going to play anything like that, I'll just fire up fucking Stalker. Anyway, Saturday we've got a game going on at about 12:30 in the afternoon. We'll be running until whenever the players finally get done with this coming session. I don't have any grand hopes for them. They might actually go and do the things that they've been talking about doing. It's kind of nice to have a group of players that are getting along again. I feel like my player party is actually starting to become decent friends, and they are getting to know each other better. Maybe it's because they've all got each other's communications, Discord, Voxer.
Yeah.
Some have their various ways of getting everybody to the knowledge they need so they can have a good communication. They can have a good conversation, and I don't have to be present for it. That's one thing I really appreciate about the new world we live in. The tech is great because everybody can correspond, and they can do their meme sharing and all that, which the memes have been great. Thank you, Kyle Rittenhouse. Thank you, Jesse Smollett. You've made my meme life so much more enriched. And
that's true.
So I'm just saying, they do that, and they're enjoying themselves. So I'm happy, and so we get to play again on Saturday. I'm looking forward to it. Okay. Garrett, if you want to stop by and hang out, the opportunity for that is open for you as well.
I'll probably be in the chat, just running mod, but
If the game
Oh,
runs
no.
to 8 o'clock, I'll be free then.
We'll be probably wrapping up around 8 or 10 o'clock at night.
Okay, so I'll catch the very end of it. Okay.
But Shauna will review of the stream come this week or next week. Oh, I love it when Shauna reviews streams. He's never done us yet. He's probably gonna rip it apart, which is good. No,
Don't do this week. This is me at my worst. I'm sorry.
No.
no, this is fine.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty okay with it. And I know that there were parts of the stream where I sounded uninspired, but I had to counterpoint with Blaine and disagree with him on stuff because I really think there's some valid points that the DM toolkit, you should not forsake your toolkit. Use your DM toolkit. It will bring you back alive.
Be hailed.
Well, I really
Fuck no.
Who was the old fucker in Starship Troopers? He said that to the kids on Planet K, and he ended up getting killed like the 17th or 18th person. It was great. But Chad, thank you for being here for this campaign talk on TableBreakers. We'll be back next Thursday night. We haven't decided our topic yet.
Nope.
No.
Do you guys have a clue yet or no?
Not a clue.
We'll have to kick it around.
Yeah, this one here was kind of an impromptu one, and I think it caused the most "quote unquote" friction between us. But it wasn't really friction; it was not agreement, but it was good and spirited.
Well, and see, these are the type of discussions I like because we've got point counterpoint, and and then I become Switzerland. I don't understand it, but I mean it's okay. I can be Switzerland. They have nice watches.
Yeah. Connor, being in chat. Look forward to your next couple streams, bud. I'm going through his library right now. He's pretty fun to listen to, actually.
Oh yeah.
Shadzar, thank you for being in chat, bud. And I'll talk to you in Discord here later.
Yes, and Shad, you're right. You're right. But unfortunately, this is how I swap from being an architect to an engineer. I either measure everything way too well, or I fucking just wing it. So,
TableBreakers, what counts as a dungeon and how to make them better.
yes, that's a good. You know what? That works.
Okay, there's our topic for next week. Everybody, swing by Thursday night of next week at 7:30 p.m. or 19:30 for those of you that are DD214 enabled. I appreciate the time that you spent with us tonight. And if you're on the rewind, I really thank you for giving us the time to explain our positions here. From TableBreakers to you, we thank you so much.
Have a great night.
Good night.